And then around the rest of baseball, the AAA is now using, it's called ABS.
Yep. It's
the automatic balls and strikes, I think is what they're using it as, would be my guess, for the rest of the season. I don't mind it. From what I think it's the challenging thing.
So I have a quote, so I'll tell you exactly what it is. So it says, in the ABS challenge system, the home plate umpire calls balls and strikes as usual, and teams have a limited number of balls and strikes they can ask to be reviewed.
You said limited.
Yes.
Okay.
By the Hawkeye system in a given game, teams retain the challenge if they are successful.
So it's just the team.
Yep.
So, okay, so I think when I went and watched it, I think it was going on in Tacoma.
It should have been. Because they were doing 3 games a week.
Well, I think this was last year. I don't know if it was still 3 games.
I don't know if it was last
year. But I think it was last year, and they basically, the umpire goes, strike, and he goes, nope, and he goes, I'm going to challenge that, turns around to, whatever, gives him the hand, and then the umpire literally turned around to the box and whatever, did something like that, and
it's instant.
They did it right on, and it's like tennis, and they put it on the big screen, and they showed it where the pitch went. It was a ball, and they go, ball.
Yeah.
And then from what I remember is that batter retained it. And I think that's the way it should be done, in my opinion, because otherwise it's like, well, you're just going to give it to Julio every time because you want him to swing. But I think that, in my opinion, it hurts, but it also makes the game a little bit more interesting. I don't know the exact stat, but I know umpires suck right now. Like, they have been so... Like, the one last night with the Rockies, I don't know if you saw that one.
Not great.
Well,
not at all.
They threw... So, Teoscar Hernandez was batting. They threw a pitch, check swing, and this would be something you can challenge, I think, on the other aspect. I think the pitcher's allowed to do this, too.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know
that. If check swing went, 10,000% went. First base umpire was appealed, said no. Next pitch, home run, walk-off. Or not walk-off, but a 3-run home run to take the lead.
Yeah.
That's an issue that I think a lot of people have. Now, I love the aspect of no review. All for it. Don't review anything. Let the game and let the umpire make mistakes. Let it happen. That's perfectly okay with me. But I also understand that when it costs teams games, it becomes an issue. So what I know of, what I thought of, at least in like Tacoma, was every batter has one challenge. And you keep the challenge just like a manager does, as long as you are correct. Once you say that's a ball and it was a strike, you lost it for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
Which I think is fair.
I don't see anything wrong with it, honestly, because it doesn't
and it was
change
so
fast.
The game. No, it doesn't.
All it does is it gets like 10, 20 seconds.
Yeah. It's not even that long. It was literally, it's like tennis. It's literally 5 seconds.
It's different if it's like, I love, because if they're not going to challenge every call.
No.
It's just not going to happen.
Well, you can't. And I don't think.
So, I like it.
I feel like they have to make sure that there are a couple rules where it's like you can't challenge like every pitch. Like if you get it correct.
You get limited number, however.
Yeah. Like per at bat, you get a max of 2, but you also. Yeah. If you, I don't know. But I just think.
I think there's things to work out, but the idea is really good.
Yeah. I just think that umpires have been so bad this year. They have to adjust something. Whether it's training managers better, because I follow the umpire audit on I think it's TikTok, and by golly, it's like 14 missed pitches in a game. I'm like, you can't. Your percentage as a major league umpire needs to be like a maximum of like under 10% misses, because you're supposed. These are the best hitters, best pitchers. You're supposed to be the best umpire.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm not against it. It needs to work a full year. It needs to like finish this year, go one full year.
And that's what they are doing, because they're bumping it up from 3 games to 6 games now. So they are implementing it to be more consistent.
I mean, it just needs to go next year, a full season, make sure everything's really worked out, because I hate the aspect of, oh yeah, we're going to bring it up, and
it doesn't work.
Now you got to work out all these kinks up in the majors, because I don't need to change the Mariners.
Out of curiosity.
We're starting an ad.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now what they can do is they can go back and edit stats from past games. I was just thinking about this.
What do you mean?
So they can literally, say like Julio Rodriguez got a hit, but it was really an error, but they listed it as a hit, and then they can go back and change it to be an error.
That's stupid.
So that's been like a year or so now. But I was curious if you remember back in like, I think it was 2012 or something. It was Armando Galarraga, if I'm pronouncing
Jim
that correctly.
Joyce.
Yes.
Yeah.
So now that they can go back and change it,
no.
Should he have his perfect game?
No.
Why not?
Because Just like the same reason I think that Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa should be in the Hall of Fame and not banned is because that's what the rules were at the time. That's what it was. There was no way to review it. It sucks that Jim Joyce did that. He probably lost sleep because of it.
Yeah.
That's the way it is. And when I look at it now, you go to me, A-Rod should never make the Hall of Fame. That is a Nelson Cruz, Ryan Braun.
It's Robinson Cano then.
100% should not be in the Hall of Fame. They broke a rule that should be put into perspective that says if you do this, you've cheated and you can't make the Hall of Fame. And I agree with that. Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, did they cheat? To today's rules, yeah. But back then, no. So I don't care. Yeah. And I get it. It's tough to hear it that way, but back then they were not breaking the rules. Were they bending them? Sure. Were they breaking them? No. So Jim Joyce, it does suck and whatever, but that's like the same thing as saying, I mean, you could go back and be like, oh, well, there was 20 missed plays and missed calls in a World Series, and now we're going to give the World Series, because you can go through the whole season and say, well, if you actually did all this, then Felix would have 30 wins on a season and he'd be the Cy Young. And no, those seasons are in the past. They're done. It's over. You can't change it. And I get it. Like, to me, the only thing that should have been changed is you strip the Astros of the World Series and you just take the World Series away. No one won it that year. It's an NFD or whatever. NFA. What is it? Not finished. NFD.
I'm not sure.
Did not finish. DNF is what I'm looking for. Golly, my brain. No one finished. The season is a waste.
Yeah.
But you strip them of that 2015 or whatever World Series. Yeah, that's gone. Gone. That's fair. They cheated. But it doesn't mean you give it to whoever it was, probably the Dodgers or something. I don't know. You don't give it to that team. Yeah. They did not earn that World Series, but they also probably would have won if the Astros weren't cheating. But
yeah, they definitely would have.
It had to have been the Dodgers.
It was the Dodgers.
So to me, that's how I look at that. I don't know what you think, but
I just hate it because it was so obvious. But I think it just is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the Fail Mary in Seattle. That was 110% not a touchdown.
Yeah. There's no way to change it. I think it's been too long. That's my thing.
Way
if it was like
a week ago, maybe.
I would say yes.
But it's hard because then if you say a week ago, then you go, all right, the Mariners lost a game, but they actually won it. We're going to review it, and now they win.
They can only change. They can't do that. They can only change like if it's a hit or an error. They can't change like the outcome of the game. Because I know there was like Nolan or Nathan Chanel or something like that. It starts with an S. He's the guy that got called up with the Angels like the year he got drafted. He had like an 18-game hitting streak, and then they went back and changed it, and he lost his hitting streak.
Yeah, I do know what you're talking about.
That's where I was talking about, because that's the newer thing that's happening right now.
I don't like that as much.
It's weird.
I don't mind reviews. Like, I can deal with reviews, but I think I don't go change. If you call the call, it's the call.
That's right.
And it sucks that, like you said, Jim, it was so obvious. It was such an easy call. Stevie Wonder could have made the call.
Yeah.
But
it happened.
It's the way it was called, and it sucks.
Honestly, he's probably more popular because of that play.
Oh, 100. No one would have known.
No one knows who Domingo Germán is. He threw a perfect game last year.
Yeah. And no one would have. Well, it's like the same guy who started the year for the Astros. He threw a no-hitter and went like another 7 innings, no hit.
Rafael Blanco. Yeah.
Forgot about him. Yeah. It's the same type of thing where Jim Joyce is famous because of the call.
Yeah.
And that sucks because it's in the wrong aspect, but it's just like, you look at I'm not comparing him because Jim Joyce was a much better umpire than Angel Hernandez, but Angel Hernandez is famous because he's terrible.
Yeah.
CB Buckner is the same way because he's awful. So
yeah.
I don't know. I think it's kind of dumb. I don't like changing that type of aspect. If that's what you call it. If you called it a hit, you called it a hit. If you call it a error, you called it an error. Sorry. Now, if it affects your Ichiro record-breaking 200 hit season, 256 hit season, or whatever, make sure you make the right call there. If there's still another 10 games left, then okay, yeah, so what? Who cares? He's probably going to get a hit in 10 games. Yeah. But I don't know. I'm not a fan of that. I don't like changing stats. Later on throughout the idea. But thanks for listening to the Kind of Athletic podcast. Be sure to follow us on all of our socials and come back next week for next week's episodes.